Welcome to episode 11 of the Hike or Die Outdoor Adventure podcast. I'm here with my good friend Craig, as always.
G'day.
We have an absolutely fantastic episode ahead of us. We've just gotten off a Skype call to a special guest all the way from Sweden, and his name is Thomas Ivung. Craig, how's your Swedish, by the way, after that conversation?
Not as good as yours, buddy.
Okay, well, spela sången tack. That's, play the music, please. Hello and welcome. Guys, it's the first one for the new year. Happy New Year and all that. Craig, how you doing?
Yeah, Happy New Year, Tom. I'm doing great, thanks, man.
Yeah, I'm just really stoked that we're hitting it early this year, mate. And we had a bit of a goal last year of doing 12 podcasts in the year, but we started really late and we managed 10, which I'm extremely proud of.
Yeah, that was good.
But we've already got one down and it's still January, so awesome. So thank you so much to our continued sponsors, HikeordieTV.com. Makes it fantastic packs and other outdoor gear. Rios Gear, suppliers of polarized floating sunglasses. Topo Maps Plus, an app that you can keep an eye on yourself. That doesn't really make sense, does it?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, good. You can see where you are on the map, and it's fantastic. You can track everything, and they just keep adding new features. Last but not least, Bluey Merino, suppliers of our merino base layers and other sorts of layers. So thanks so much to all of them for their support through 2018, and long may we look forward to their support this year. Craig, what's new, mate? Talk to me.
Oh, what's new? Mate, I think we've all been living the dream here in Australia this summer.
Oh, yeah, we have.
Great weather.
Yeah, we've had...
It's been hot.
We've obviously had our festive season here and time off work, hopefully, for most of us. So, yeah, it's been good, hasn't it?
Yeah, mate, I've been getting out as much as I can, putting the boots on now and then, and getting out with the family a bit.
Anything interesting I should know about?
No, I climbed up Gun with...
Oh, I spoke to you that morning, didn't I? Or was it the day before? That morning?
Yeah, that was great fun.
Yeah, cool.
He's I didn't need to carry him at all this time.
That's a bonus. That's the best kind of hiking, when you don't have to carry your kids.
Yeah, mate. And, I think I've just been focusing on getting a little bit healthier.
Oh, good stuff.
A bit happier. And I've been eating like a caveman lately.
That's not a bad thing.
Trying to be careful what I'm eating, which is awesome.
Just
so I
dragging live elk into the backyard over your shoulder.
sort of
Gutting it in the garage.
Sort of, yeah. Keeping an eye on that. So, yeah, feeling good this year.
Oh, very good. Managed to get away myself. It was a little bit of an unexpected getaway. We certainly didn't have a solid plan, but a very good and kind friend of mine was overseas in the US, and he kindly left his keys to his cabin for me. So took the family down there and stayed down there for about 4 days. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's smack bang on the edge of 6,000 acres of rugged mountains and bushland and rivers and all sorts of stuff. Very first afternoon we went for a wander and saw an echidna. It was just gorgeous, which reminds me, I really need to put that on Instagram.
Haven't you put that up yet?
No, it's just on my phone. I took a video and a photo, but he's a cracker, absolutely beautiful little guy. I'll pop that up. That's a great video. And then the following day we woke up and there were a couple of rooster deer just sitting down in the valley, and they sat there the whole day just chewing on this lush grass and So the boys were stoked. See their first deer. Then we went for another wander, and we literally walked into a mob of about 15 wild goats. So they were just thrilled, and it was just good. Lots of wildlife, and
That place sounds so good, man.
yeah, it's a top spot. I really enjoy it down there, and the sunsets are some of the best I've ever seen. Very, very relaxing. I have continued on my running journey.
How you going?
Good, yeah. So I'm over 10Ks now.
True.
Yeah, which is 6 miles. I'm sort of up around 11 and a half. And I just want to keep going. It's funny, Craig, just before the show, he has very kindly given me a gift of a compression bandage or pressure bandage that you use for snake bites.
Yeah.
And when he gave it to me, I said, that's really useful because there's a half marathon coming up. It's a trail run. And one of the mandatory things that you need to carry is a pressure bandage. For
Is that right?
Yeah. So I was thinking, I'm going to have to get one of them. I don't know
All right.
how to get one or where to get one. And then Craig has provided me
Jeez.
with the protection I need.
They
That's if I enter. I mean,
Really?
that's a big step, right? I've got to add another 10Ks to my game.
They must reckon there's there's a chance you can get bitten, eh?
Oh, look, I think they make you carry all these things so they can tick off and say, well,
Yeah.
I told him he should have carried a water bottle.
Told you so.
And he didn't.
All right.
So that's something interesting I'm considering, seeing how I go. I've got something exciting that we have discussed. The film the documentary that I filmed in Tasmania in Australia, I got contacted by let me get this correct, the Cradle Mountain Film Festival, and they're going to be playing a cut-down version of that at their film festival at the end of March. So I hope there's a big chance of you and I getting down there.
Nice work, mate. Anyway, that's great.
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate that. It's
Actually, we haven't been on here since the last time we were getting prepped to go
that's right.
and
It was
screen it.
Yeah, that's correct. And it was just before that.
Yep.
It was a couple of days before. I think we did the last podcast of the year.
Which was my first time seeing it in full, and I loved it, man. It was great.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that too. A lot of your hard work was in that, in the audio and everything, but it was good to see it on the big screen and have so many people come out and support it. And obviously, soon after that, we're on to our next gig. So they've they want to screen it down there, which is a really interesting concept because you actually hike along the first part of the overland track, and then they have I think they have yurts or something, and also they use one of the huts to play the films just kind of in the middle of the wilderness. And so you can spend the day hiking around these huts and watching adventure films and stuff like that. What's going to be really cool is there's a particular shot in the film of a place called Kitchen Hut, which is this old wooden hut. And they're actually going to play the film in that hut. So if you're sitting in there, you'll see a shot of that, which I think is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Pretty authentic. It's right at the base of Cradle Mountain, which is spectacular. So that's something pretty exciting.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, I still kind of that hasn't really sunk in, but I'm certainly looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, mate, I'm making some holidays for that. That'll be great. Let's go.
Yeah, you're going to need them.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry to put a downer on this podcast, but have you heard about the national parks shut down in the US again?
Because of the administration shutdown? Because of the government
I believe
shutdown?
so, yeah. I don't fully understand, but yeah, it's definitely related to that. So they're not necessarily targeting the shutdown of national parks, but it's how would you say, a symptom of what they've done.
Yeah, because people are going in and being idiots, right?
Well, they are now because there's nobody to police it.
That's right.
And it's disturbing on a lot of levels. It happened only a couple of days before Christmas, I think, from memory. So all these holiday makers, tourists, people from all over the world have travelled to these national parks or getting ready to travel there, and then they've been shut down because they've got no staff to run them, or they've been left open, but all the facilities are just not being tended to. So bins are overflowing, and I mean, there's so many levels of stupidity in that. I think number one is just the environment itself is just having rubbish and everything blow around, but also in a very short amount of time, things like bears, and I was reading an article on it today, things like bears are discovering the trash cans in major national parks very, very quickly, and very, very quickly establishing that that's a source of food. And it doesn't matter if you go in there next week and clean that up. That's it, man. Like, you've created a problem. They know that's where they get food, and those are going to be problem bears, and then they're going to have to be dealt with. And it's not the bear's fault. It's just disturbing. People have been going into Joshua Tree National Park and chopping down trees. Like, what?
Yeah,
are they mental?
Adam Greentree talking about that this week.
Yeah, I heard him talking about that as well, coincidentally, on the Joe Rogan podcast. But I looked that up as well and checked it out a bit more just to get a bit more of the facts. And it seems like, again, it's just stupidity, but as soon as the rangers aren't there, people are just going crazy. They're doing illegal sort of 4x4ing, so forward driving down places they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They're just kind of using the opportunity to, flick cigarette butts everywhere, throw trash everywhere. And it's
like we all do when the boss is away, right?
Yeah, exactly. But what it demonstrated to me was that how badly they function without the authority. Like, it's disgraceful.
Falls apart, eh?
It's disgusting. You think that without the authority you'd still be able to maintain some decorum and have a little bit of respect for each other. There was a reporter that a writer rather, who went in and took some photos and stuff and wrote a story about what she experienced at one particular place. And it was comforting to know that I think it was Yosemite. I just don't have the article in front of me. But she said that because there's actually business owners there in the park as well, they've actually kind of got together and they've been going out and cleaning up the park. And they're keeping their businesses open, so you can go to the bakery and get stuff or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's just the national park staff that aren't there. Mm. And then people from local areas are rallying around, driving in big trailers, collecting trash and driving it out. That's a good news story, The rubbish shouldn't be there in the first place, but the fact that people are going in there off their own accord and fixing it, that's good to hear.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we should take note of that.
Thanks for that downer anyway, Tom.
Yeah,
have you got any good news?
I'm always here for downers. Don't you worry.
Give us some good news, please.
Good news. Oh, I'm going to cut straight to a couple of shout-outs. I was going to do it a bit different this week. Well, I am going to do it different. And the platform in which we host our podcast is called Podbean. That's a free shout-out to them. Hey, how good are we? But the reason I mention that is because we've got actually direct followers on Podbean as well as Spotify and iTunes and YouTube. But yeah, we actually have Podbean followers as well. So I was just going to flick out a few shout-outs because I know they're listening because they've actually subscribed to us, which is awesome. It makes a lot of difference. So Jason Pritchard 67, that's your username. Thanks, fella. Really appreciate you listening. Jodes, I know we've now confirmed that that's a That is his nickname.
Yeah.
Good
Jody.
guy. Very supportive. Thanks, buddy. And here's another one. Merc, 1897. And why not one more? Squiggle, 81. With a cute little avatar with a little teeny baby. Isn't that nice? Thank you, guys, for following us, subscribing, listening, and continuing to support us. It means the world to us, and it keeps us popping up for a brand new year. How's that for getting rid of the downer, mate?
It's nice, mate. It's like a bit of feel-good stuff, that.
It's a feel-good story for the listeners.
Yeah.
It's time for Books with Tom.
Books with Tom.
I haven't stopped, mate. I haven't stopped.
Haven't you?
No, I haven't stopped. I picked up this book for $3 from a secondhand store, and it was called Walking the Amazon by Ed Stafford. Are you familiar with Ed Stafford? I think you are, but you probably don't know his name.
No, I live close to Stafford.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not Ed from Stafford.
Ed from Stafford.
Ed Stafford used to have a show called Naked and Marooned. He would get off a boat on a tropical island or something, take off all of his clothes, not take a knife or a cup or anything, and walk onto the island, and they'd leave him for a month or whatever.
And it was always just him, wasn't it?
Always just him and a camera.
That was a cool show.
Exactly. So I didn't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, but it makes more sense to me now that I think that those shows came after he walked the entire length of the Amazon River.
Okay.
From source to sea. This book's about that. And it's got some heavy stuff in there. There's drug runners, they have run-ins with drug runners. There's Indian, Amazon, I think they call them Amerindian tribes that have them at arrow and spear point, and literally doing that. You know that sign, I'll try and explain it on air here, where you kind of like drag your finger across your throat like you're going to kill someone. Well, he'd walk into villages and they're doing that. Old women and everything are just doing that to his face. It's full on. It took him 600 and something days. It took him. It's just a mega. We've climbed under and over a few trees and had to make our own trails, and then I read this book and I feel significantly inadequate. He's talking about parts of the Amazon where in the times where it was flooding and they couldn't find a way around, or it was too far. Like it might take 25 kilometers to get out of the flood zone, which is just too long. So they'd push through it and hope for higher ground. And at some points they're up to their chest or their neck in black water, holding their packs up, or they'd have dry bags, and just going by feel. And there's massive thorns. Like there's photos of thorns about 3-4 inches long that they were just all over every single tree and vines. So imagine hiking through absolutely hectic rainforest and then doing it where you can't see as well. It'd be like doing it at night. Anyway, it was not a bad read. Not a bad read. Pretty cool adventure. Yeah,
sort of those adventures that, we could go on, right? No, it's maybe.
He said every single person that he met either laughed at him and said it couldn't be done, or said you're going to die. Spoiler alert, neither of those things happened.
No, that's cool.
Quite some time ago, when I say quite some time, a couple of podcasts ago, I was talking about another book I picked up called Wolf Brother by Michelle Paver. Again, if you're new listener or an old listener, jump on to HikeordieTV.com, go to the podcast page, and when you click on the episode that you're interested in, it'll have all the podcast show notes. So anything I'm talking about here, any articles or books or anything like that, I'll actually link. I'll put the links on there, and you can go and check them out for yourself. Anyway, I read the second book in the series called Spirit Walker. And just a recap for anyone who didn't catch that, this lady has so heavily researched indigenous European tribes that she's then written these books back in those times, so pre-agricultural times. And the same characters from the first book flow into the second book. And they actually, in this particular book, the setting's somewhere around Norway, Sweden and Norway. And, well, what's really cool is after I read the book, I read the bit at the back, and she actually travelled to these countries. For example, she talks about this main character swims with killer whales in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And in the she actually went there and swam with killer whales just to kind of like know what it felt, and like in the fear and like hearing them calling underwater and all those sorts of things, just so that she could write an authentic book. And I just thought it was fantastic. She went and with these indigenous tribes and who are still kind of practicing their original methods today, and ate all the sorts of foods like seaweeds and seal and whale meat and everything, again, so that she could kind of describe it accurately in the book. It's almost like a method actor. It's almost like Matt Damon learning karate before he does The Bourne Legacy, isn't it? That's immersion. I like it. I just think it's fantastic. She's not writing a book about stuff she doesn't know about.
Awesome.
Quickly, the last one I read was Hatchet by Gary Paulson. A lot of people are familiar with this book, but I only learned about it last year. It's a story of a young boy, I think early teens, who is traveling in a light aircraft over the Alaskan wilderness, and I'm not really giving anything away, but the plane crashes, and then he has to fend for himself, and basically the only thing that he had on him at the time was a little hatchet that his mum gave to him as a gift. And so it's just great. It's just this real survival book. I actually bought it for my boys to read, but of course I had to check that the content was appropriate first. So I read it. It's another fantastic book. It's just a real wilderness book, and his encounters with wildlife and the struggles that he deals with. So what did you think about that, mate? You like that?
I like that. You just reminded me. I'll just step back a step.
Sure.
I read a book.
Holy, what the... Is this a New Year's resolution?
No.
When did... Oh, hang on. You mean 10 years ago?
Yeah, look, this was a long time.
Okay, so you didn't read a book between the podcast
I had to
and
quickly look it up.
Okay.
So, Three Men in a Raft. Have you read it? It's the improbable journey down the Amazon. So they...
Is it a true story?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One of them's an Aussie guy. So they did the journey you're talking about. But I remember reading the book, and they had to dodge a few sections.
Yeah.
That probably old mate went through.
Yeah, because he didn't dodge anything.
Yeah.
And he actually speaks about somebody previous to him paddled the entire Amazon, but he wanted to do it on foot. Now, he did take those inflatable rafts, but they only used them for crossing, and to the point where he was so strict that he would set a waypoint on his GPS, because some of the rivers are really wide and they've got currents. He'd set a waypoint on his GPS, and if he'd set across this river, and if it takes him a half a kilometre or a kilometre downstream, he'll get on the bank, pack up the raft, walk back that kilometre to where the GPS point was exactly across the river, and then start walking again.
Right.
just so that he never actually used the water to propel him down the river.
I see.
Because he was
Hardcore.
dead against that. He thought it was cheating.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Very good. Very, like, the mental fortitude he had was beyond anything I think I could wrangle.
Yeah, I reckon. For sure.
Now, all that talk of Norway and Sweden, mate,
Let's do it.
dovetails perfectly into the guest that we had on the Skype call tonight. What I was going to do is read. He's actually an ambassador for an axe and a knife, Norwegian axe and knife company. And when I read the little spiel about what he does and everything about him, I thought, wow, that sounds really interesting. And then, we follow this guy on Instagram and have done for a while, and that's how this podcast came to be. But now, after doing this interview with him and going back to it now, he is everything that this little spiel says. So I'm going to quickly read it to you, and then I'm going to stop delaying this and let you guys get straight into it. This says, Thomas is an active outdoor enthusiast from Sweden who appreciates all the moments in nature, big and small. Thomas thrives in both mountain land, forest, and all the climates we know out in the wild. He likes to tell stories through pictures, and he's inspired by the traditional stories that have created everything around us. He loves to bring his little family out for a walk in the woods and lights fires to let him experiment with cooking. The reason this is a little bit disjointed is this: I've used Google Translate to translate this Norwegian site. So,
true.
Pardon those few errors. Thomas is a wandering man in the forest, and we are happy to see that he also thrives well in Norwegian nature and land. He's an absolute legend, top bloke. I had so much fun talking with him.
Yeah.
So, Craig, unless you've got anything to add, I think we should just hop straight to it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Hello in the forest.
Oh, calling from the forest, mate.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
That's fantastic.
The campfire is ready and the coffee is ready and the sun is shining.
Mate, I wish I was there instead of here.
Okay.
G'day, Thomas. Welcome aboard, mate. Good to hear you on the phone. Thank you for coming in and chatting to us today.
Yeah, just a pleasure.
Hey, I wrote down some Swedish to test on you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Stop laughing, Craig. Now, this is going to be bad. Your height, Tom. Trevligt att träffas. Hur mår du?
Trevligt att träffas. Jag mår bra.
And now I'm lost. That's very good. You're very good at this. Oh, you said I'm well. You said I'm well.
Yeah, that sounds like Swedish.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. Good
worked.
stuff. Hey, Thomas, how do you pronounce your last name?
Ivung.
Ivung. Okay.
Ivung. Yes.
Awesome.
It's it's not so common in Sweden.
Oh, is that right?
Special.
Ah, very
Yes.
cool. Awesome. Tell us about where you're sitting right now, Thomas.
Right now, I'm sitting in the woods, in my local woods, just maybe 5 minutes from my front door at home. I live in a small village called Mullsjö.
Oh, awesome.
And the nickname for the village is Outdoor Kingdom. So
Oh, that sounds good.
it can't be better.
No, that sounds like a good place to be.
Yeah. It's a small village surrounded by forest. So
Wow.
We've fallen in love with your photos on Instagram, mate. And if that's where a lot of the photos come from, it's pretty much heaven there, right?
yeah. Almost every photo is from my village surroundings. It's just the photos from up north that's different.
Incredible.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's a beautiful place, and something that Craig and I have discussed, well, a couple of times actually, especially since I mentioned your name and we started talking about getting you on as a guest, was how impressed we were with the storytelling aspect of your photographs. Is there something that you specifically set out to do each time you take the camera into the woods?
Yeah, I try to tell some kind of story. Sometimes I just I don't know what you call it in English, but I take some quotes.
Oh,
just
okay.
for fulfill. But I try to tell some story. I want to motivate and influence people to go out in the wilderness or nature.
Yeah, they always start you off thinking. They always get you interested in the picture, not just something to flick past. I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's nice to get good feedback.
No, it's an absolute pleasure following your Instagram account and seeing those pop up very regularly. Some of, mostly my favorites are the fire. It's always the fire and the cooking and, of course, the coffee. Those ones are always my favorites.
Yeah. It's always fire and it's always coffee. Otherwise, I don't go out.
I think we'd get along just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes I do some cooking or some bushcrafting, but not without the coffee.
Yeah. Coffee first, bushcraft second.
Yeah. Coffee first and coffee last. The last thing before I go home.
Awesome. Hey, that mentioning bushcraft is it brings me to a conversation that we had on Instagram when we were first talking,
yes.
where I said something like, "I find your bushcraft really interesting," and you were pretty quick to say, "Well, you don't actually consider it bushcraft, or you weren't a bushcraft practitioner."
Yes, that's right. I'm not. I don't know what to say, but I'm not a big fan of bushcrafting in my own outdoor life.
Right.
But I think bushcraft is an important thing to learn.
Yeah.
And to know.
Yeah. It's funny because I think also the word bushcraft across different countries across the world perhaps has different meanings, because I was a little bit shocked by that comment, because I remember thinking, wow, in a sense I almost disagree, because I think that even just building a good fire, people like yourself and us, we take that for granted, but do you know how many people there are out there that can't start a fire?
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think in a sense that would be considered basic bushcraft.
For sure.
Yeah, if you can do a simple campfire, it's a kind of bushcraft, but as you say, most people in Sweden does know how to start a fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and I guess that's because it's freezing cold. You guys are in the middle of winter, right?
Yeah. It's today it's -6 degrees, but the sun is shining and the snow is on the ground. So
perfect.
It's not that cold today.
Okay.
But we are middle in. It's supposed to be colder today, but the winter is quite it's a rainy winter this year.
Right. I've noticed recently, actually very recently, that you've started taking the hammock out. Is that something new to you?
I tried a hammock a couple of years ago, but I didn't feel such a comfort in the hammock then.
Yep.
So, but this year I was sponsored by Amazonas hammocks, and I decided to give it a try again. And actually, I found a way to actually like the hammock living.
Oh, that's good.
But I only tested maybe this year 5 times or something.
Yeah.
But it's getting better and better for every time.
That looks really good, mate. How do you keep warm in the weather out there with that hammock? Because I've had quite a few cold nights in a hammock.
Yeah, it can be cold, and that's one of the problem. I'm always sleeping on my back, so I'm. But this last week I was out. I take what do you say in English?
Is it like
the word just disappeared.
a blanket or a mat?
No, mat.
Insulated.
Insulation mat.
Yeah.
Right.
I was trying to have a double layer. And,
right.
It was quite okay, but the cold from the ground was a little bit hard anyway.
Yeah. You'd recommend a quilt for outside of it as well in some, snowy conditions. But that looks like you're having some fun anyway. Hey.
Yeah. I need a quilt. I think now when winter is coming here now, it's I need a quilt or something else to make it comfort.
Yeah, yeah, that's understandable. Even here, where even in just normal warm weather, I tend to lose a lot of body temperature through my back. I tried sleeping once without an insulation mat, and I'd never do that again. It doesn't work for me.
Oh, I need the mat just to lay comfortably, but without a mat should be too cold to even in summer times, I think.
Oh, okay. What sort of temperatures do you get there in summer?
This summer was extremely high temperature for being in Sweden, so we have almost 30 degrees this summer. We have probably big fires and stuff like that, but right. Normally maybe 20 degrees. For a couple of weeks, it's not a long time.
Oh, I see. So it doesn't last that long.
No, maybe 4 weeks in the summer. It's good.
That's crazy.
T-shirt weather.
We hit 20 degrees in winter.
Yeah. Yeah, we live in a state that doesn't snow, so
yeah, we don't get that.
It's pretty tropical.
I don't have any snow at all.
No, not here. You'd have to travel you'd have to travel 3 hours on a plane to get to a part of Australia where you'll start to get snow, but only in winter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here in Sweden, it's more snow. It's more winter than summer.
Yeah. Awesome.
But I like it.
That's lucky.
Yeah.
So, Thomas, was there a definitive point where all of this kind of outdoor adventure stuff started for you, or was it a gradual introduction, or was it something that was led by your parents, or how did it all come about from nothing to this amazing Instagram page?
Yeah. I would say it started with my parents. They always took me and my pals about this out in the weekends to the forest for camping or fishing or there was no computers or mobile phones in that time. So we just accept that, and that's why I started to like being out in nature. So my parents is the beginning, I will say, but then I have a time in my teenager life when girls and parties was more fun than being outdoors. So
that makes sense.
yeah. And but then when I maybe after high school and stuff like that, and I was going back to being out in nature in my own way, and then since then it's just been more and more and more, and starting to realize that nature is something I need in a almost everyday basis. So, but with the photographing and Instagram, it's just a couple of years old.
Yeah.
I was feeling when I was sitting with my coffee with a campfire, and I have to do something else, and then I start to use the camera. I had a camera, but I never used it. But I started to use it, and I actually learned it was quite funny to take pictures and show other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're doing a great job of, selling an awesome lifestyle to people, and, you look really at home at the woods. I think it's, but is there a guy here who goes to work as well, or where do you work, and do you have to like put on a tie some of the time, or are you?
Oh, no.
No.
Tie I only have on funerals. I work in full time, so but I work as I don't know if you call it in loss prevention officer.
Right.
I work as a undercover security in retail stores. Yes. So I work quite long days, 12 hours days. So I work for 2 or 3 days, and then I have a couple of days off in the middle of the week. So I have the opportunity to be out at least 3 or 4 times every week.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
In a longer way, for a day or two, I can be out.
That sounds awesome. Well done.
That's great.
Yeah. So it's quite a privilege to. It's hard to work the long days, but then I get the time off and I have time to be out. So that's
that sounds like a good balance in the end.
Yeah, I think so. And being out is, I used to say that my brain is the battery and the nature is my power bank. So
that's a good one. I'll remember that.
I like it.
Hey Thomas, what's a typical day for you while you're out in the woods?
A typical day in the week, I like the bushcraft thing that we talked about earlier. I like it to do things simple for most time. I just go out, take my coffee pot and my coffee, and I go out, find a good place, and I maybe 10 minutes from home or 2 hours from home, and when I find a good spot, I start a fire, I sit down and drink my coffee, and from there I decide what to do when I have.
And there's a lot of that.
Sometimes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. There's a lot of that.
Okay.
There's a lot of that when solo? Is that a lot of that by yourself?
Most of the time I'm by myself because my fiance have the same interest. She is outdoor
Yeah,
person.
we've noticed that. It's definitely another question on my list for later for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
but for the most time I'm out by myself because she is working in the week, so
Right.
so I have the time off from the family too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but in the weekends we do it together.
Great.
Most of we go out cooking with the kids and such things.
Awesome.
Fishing sometimes or canoeing.
That's great.
But in the I will say 9 out of 10 times I'm by myself.
Right. I always like to ask people who spend a lot of time by themselves, because it's something that Craig and I have tested over the years. Was that something that you gradually got into as well, or was it just a really natural process for you to just be alone?
No, I always liked to be by myself. When I was young, it was natural to be with friends or when you're doing stuff like fishing or something. But as long as I can remember like that, I always liked to be by myself because, like I said, the nature is a kind of power bank for me. So when I sit with a campfire and or other things, I like to think a lot.
Yep.
Let the brain work in a quiet place. So I like the to be alone, and I always liked it. I think
That makes
I have to think right now because I cannot remember how long I've been by myself out.
Oh, that makes absolute sense to us, mate. We, did a few solo adventures and found it was something you had to sort of develop and get that sort of centered, so you can be alone for those days. But obviously, you're very comfortable with it, which you get a lot from that. Of course, you do.
Yeah, I'm comfortable, but at the same time, I love to be out with my fiance or have company when I do things. But in my everyday outdoor life, I like the quiet, and I like just to be sitting there in my own bubble.
Yeah. Hey, look, I love to check what sort of dangers you face in the wild out there, and sort of touch on whether you've got bears or snakes, crocodiles. No, not crocodiles.
In Sweden,
yeah.
only my own knife is the danger.
Oh, that sounds pretty good.
We have we don't have any dangerous animals, or we have wolves and bears, not bears as I always say, but bears we have, and lynx and wolverine and stuff like that. But no of that animal is dangerous to the humankind in Sweden.
Yeah, that's good.
So you don't get any trouble from the wolverines? I thought wolverines could get a little bit agitated sometimes.
Well, no, you never get that close to a wolverine. Here in southern Sweden, where I live, we don't have wolverines. They're just up north.
Oh, I see.
In the mountains.
I see.
Also the bears. We have wolves and lynx in my area. But you just see the tracks of them. You never see them. I go every year for 10 years back now. I always travel to the northern mountains to watch bears. not beers again. Bears. I drink beer and watch bears.
It's a perfect combination.
Yeah. And we have a couple of friends that they're going to a cabin in the mountains and for a weekend. And as you say, in the evenings we cooking some food on the fire and drinking some beers. And in the daytime we hiking in the mountains and watching the bears.
That sounds like the best holiday ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the best place. It's my favorite place to be every year.
Is that black bears?
We only have brown.
Brown.
Bears.
Okay, right.
And in Sweden, I don't know how it's in the other countries, but in Sweden they are not aggressive.
Right.
In that matter, they every year some people dies in bear attacks, but it's always hunters.
The slow people.
Hunters with dogs.
Right, so they stir them up and they attract their attention and get them quite angry. Yeah.
Otherwise, we don't. We have one poison snake in Sweden, and it's not that poisoned as the snakes you have in your area.
Nice.
If you get bitten by that snake, it's you will survive if you go to hospital in a couple of hours. So.
Right, that's good. I'm feeling pretty good about visiting then.
Yeah.
Sounds more relaxing.
You don't have to be afraid in the Swedish woods or mountains. It's just yourself and your mates you have with you. You have to be careful of.
Yeah, usually the mates. Does
yeah. It's always the mates.
Do you ever hear the wolves howling around you, when either during the day or in the evenings or anything like that?
Yeah, I have heard the wolves a couple of times, but in Sweden right now and in Scandinavia overall is quite a war against between people that want to kill the wolves and people that want to have the wolves.
Yeah.
So right now they are not many wolves in Sweden because they are shooting it off every year.
Oh, really? Look, I understand. Yeah, look, I understand conservation reasons. I understand culling and stuff like that. But hopefully there's some sensible management there and some kind of theory behind how many they're culling.
Yeah. It's this war, if you can call it a war, but it's been in a couple of years now. So in Sweden we maybe have right now 250 wolves.
Oh wow, that doesn't sound like many for such a big area.
No, that's not many for that big area, and the problem is that mostly the wolves is up north too, or in the middle of Sweden somewhere, and we have our native people in Sweden. I don't know if you know them, the Sami people.
I've heard of them. I was actually reading a book this week where the author was talking about research that she did with Sami people.
Yeah, and the Sami people is they rule the north, you can say. So I have a lot of respect for Sami people. If someone can do bushcraft, is them. But they have the reindeers.
Yes.
That's why it's the work, you can say so.
Okay.
And they don't want predators at all in the area, and their area is almost whole Sweden. So
Right.
it's just down here in the south. There's no Sami reservoirs or you say.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's every time a wolf or a lynx or wolverine is appearing is they're hunting it down. So.
Right. Do you have any opinions on that, Thomas? I mean, I don't mean to get into any sort of a political conversation, but I'm just wondering, do you have any personal opinions?
Yeah, I don't think it's political. I think it's a nature question. So I think we should have all of our natural predators in Sweden. So then you always can discuss how many and things like that. But
yeah, mate, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
The question right now between against and for predators is if we should have them at all, and I think we should have for a, I don't know how you say ecosystem.
Yes, correct. Yeah, for a balance. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, if they weren't meant to be there, they wouldn't be there.
Yeah. But at the same time, I can understand that people suffering that have what do you say, farmers that have animals.
It's their livelihood. Yeah.
So it's a difficult question to.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, this question is people have this discussion in every continent on the planet almost. You know, I'm pretty. I know a lot about the US kind of situation with the wolves over there. They were pushed to extinction in particular areas, like I think Yellowstone was completely
Yellowstone.
And then they reintroduced them. Was that where they reintroduced them? There was a spot.
Yes.
Yeah, they wiped them out, and then they decided that they really kind of need them back in there to keep the balance. So they reintroduced them, and you know, to the average person, they probably can't understand why you're going to bring in a predator that might potentially attack them if they're bushwalking or something. But you know, this place is for us all to share, right?
Yeah, I don't really know the big difference, but in the States and Alaska and things like that, I think the wolves and the predators overall is quite a more, maybe not aggressive, but I think they are more curious and not afraid of the humans.
Right.
Here in Sweden, we don't have that problem. They don't attack humans, people at all. So I think it's quite hard to what do you call it? It's not the same here as
it's hard to compare.
Other countries.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry about my bad English.
No, mate. No, it's fantastic. No, there's absolutely no problems there. Your English is far superior to my Swedish.
You're speaking good Swedish.
Thank you, sir. I will continue to practice. I should say, tack så mycket. Is that better?
Varsågod.
Oh, what's that? What does that mean?
You're welcome.
Oh, excellent. I need to learn that one.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm just checking my notes, Tom. I've got something. Hey,
Yep.
What's the story behind your pipe? I've seen you with a little pipe. Is that a special pipe?
Well, is that a pot?
No, the pipe. Smoking pipe.
Pipe. Smoke. Yeah, I have I'm not a smoker. In Sweden, I don't know. In Sweden, the most people do snus.
I know.
You know snus?
I know it very well. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm using that stuff in regular, but sometimes
What is it?
Oh, okay.
Tell me.
So you tell me if I'm
okay.
wrong, Thomas. But snooze is like
Yeah.
it's like almost like a small piece of sort of like chewing tobacco, but you stick it up under your top lip,
Yeah.
and it kind of sits up there by itself, just above the teeth, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And people that have been doing it, 'cause, I had a Swedish girlfriend, a long, long time ago, Thomas, and she'd been doing it so long that it was making a dent, like making a kind of a hole in above her teeth.
In her gums.
Does that sound roughly a good description?
Yeah, I think it's a good. It's tobacco that you put on your lip, basically.
Yeah. So what's the pipe for? Just you don't have to smoke it.
Oh no, I think sometimes Thomas just likes to smoke a pipe. Is that right?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The pipe I have a couple of pipes, but sometimes and mostly when I am up in the mountains and hiking, I like to have my pipe just for what do you call it?
Relaxing.
It's a nice thing to just light your pipe and smoke it.
I do like the smell
I'm not
of
doing
pipes.
it in regular basis, not something. What do you say?
I said I do like the smell of pipe smoke.
Yeah. It's hard to describe, but it's something special with it, and in the right moment, I think it's quite a good.
Well, yeah, nothing looks more authentic than
And it's good on picture too. So.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. When you're sitting out there in the snow, just having a little puff, it looks great.
And if we're back at your pictures, mate, can you send us some Pilsner Korv? And can you can you tell us a little bit about these sausages you are eating?
Pilsner Korv.
I've never tried one, so I looked it up. Can I tell you what they reckon's inside them? Do you know what's in them? It says, hang on, where am I? Yeah, Swedish pork and beef, water, cattle heart, cattle lung, potato flour, fat from pig, submucosal from pig, milk protein, blood protein from cattle, spices and antioxidants. It sounds full on. It sounds like a big mix mash of stuff. And is it tasty?
Yeah, that kind of sausages, the Pilsner Korv is the best.
Oh yeah, right.
Sausage you can
Right.
eat outdoors. It's a very common outdoor sausage.
Is it? Awesome.
But almost every sausage in Sweden have that ingredients
Far out.
that you just read up.
Looks good.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, no, I saw you got a few comments.
I never read that because it sounds disgusting.
No, you got a few comments of everyone agrees that it's awesome to take out in the bush. So, we'll have to get our hands on some and give it a go.
Yeah. It's had a special taste if you compare with other sausages in Sweden, but I think that is so common in the outdoors here is. No, my coffee is boiling over. It's because it's quite easy to just open the can and then you put the can in the fire.
Yeah,
you don't have to do
cool.
a sausage stick or something.
Yeah, right.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can see a photo of the sticking out of a can. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome.
Very jealous.
If you get your hands on a can of Pilsner Korv, you should try it.
Yeah, we will, for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye out for that. There has to be somewhere in Australia that imports that. We need to find it.
Yeah.
If we find it, we're going to take a photo, put it on our Instagram and tag you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't find it, I will send you some.
All right. That's a deal. It's an absolute deal.
Shoot.
And then if we can't. If you can't send it, we're just gonna have to fly over there and sit out in the woods with you and taste it.
Yum.
Yeah.
How's your coffee going, mate? Is everything okay there?
Yeah. The coffee was just boiled. I leave my attention off it for seconds, but now it's fine.
That's good.
That's good to hear. Hey, something I've been. I have a fascination for. A fetish is probably a word for it. I collect axes and axe heads and hatchets, and
Yes.
I'm very. I like your hatchets and knives, and I did a little bit of research of that brand. Is that you're actually an ambassador for? Is it Ayo or Iyo?
Yeah. Oyo, I think it is a Norwegian.
Yes. So that's what I learned after I went through the links. It looks like they make some beautiful pieces of equipment there.
Yeah, I like their stuff. I have my favorites in there in the product catalog, but I like them, and that's why I'm decided to.
Yeah.
I didn't decide. They asked me to be an ambassador, and I go along with that.
Yeah, mate. You do a fantastic service for them too, of just dropping those items into photographs. They look fantastic, and I mean, what's even better is I'm sure you use these knives and axes every time you're out there anyway, which makes it even more authentic.
Yeah, that's but a thing I always say to be I get quite a quite a lot of questions if I want to be an ambassador or test products in the outdoors, and I always say that if I'm going to test some products or be an ambassador, I have to use the things myself. I will not stand there and take photo of some mascara or lipstick. Or
Yeah.
It have to be things I really have used for myself, like knives and axes and clothing and things like that. And another thing is that I have. What do you say? I lost the word again, but for environmental issues,
Yep.
They have to have a good policy.
I understand what you're saying.
And reputation.
I totally get it. You're you like them to have. Even I can't think of the English word for it. I think what you're trying to say is their morals and their ideas about the environment and stuff like that have to. Are you saying that they have to align with your own thoughts?
Yeah, just
right.
like that.
Yeah, fantastic. That's fair enough as well. Yeah, if they're not chopping down forests to use the timber for the handles and stuff like that.
No, exactly. You don't have palm oil in it's the big discussion in Sweden about the rainforest harvings.
Right. Yeah, look, I think that's popping up everywhere. Doesn't happen too much in Australia, does it, Craig? But every now and then they'll try and open a new section for logging or something, and thankfully they tend to listen to the people, which is good.
Oh, okay, that's good. In Sweden we have a lot of forest in Sweden, but the Swedes government and stuff like that are not so careful about the woods. They don't appreciate these old woods and so the only places we have old living woods is in national parks and reserves and
Yeah.
things like that. Otherwise, it's just young and free, so all over.
Right. Yeah, we have designated areas where they'll just grow trees specifically for timber, and I don't have too much problem with that because they just grow in the same areas over and over again, and it keeps them away from that old growth, as you say, which obviously is part of a much more detailed ecosystem.
Yeah. So, but in Sweden here, we just this last couple of years they have done more to they have started new big areas that is protected and the government, if you say, they have a goal that there is the areas percent areas is going to be protected to have a, because they now too late actually, but the old forest is quite what do you say, important for
Absolutely.
even the ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's good to hear that they're starting to do that. I always kind of think that even though, we talk to people from all different countries, and I always think that one day I might want to go there, or my boys might want to come and visit there, and I just want it still to be there, because I know we live in a different country, but at the same time that nature should still be there for visitors. The same way that if you come to Australia, you want to see you might want to see the Great Barrier Reef and go diving.
Yeah.
But if just because it's on our coast we destroy it because we don't care, then we've destroyed something that the rest of the world doesn't get to see. I think it's pretty important to think a bit outside of your own kind of backyard.
Yeah, it is, and when we speak about this tourist attraction things, also that's I love that in especially in northern Sweden, in the mountains. The tourism from other countries is very big.
Right.
And it's getting bigger for every year. So right now we have, I don't know if you know the King's Trail in Sweden.
I think I've heard of it, but I'm not familiar with what it is.
It's a hiking path that goes almost through the whole mountain chain in Sweden. It's I think it's 440 kilometers.
I'm just looking at some images now of it.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's some serious mountains there.
Yeah. That I love that areas, but the tourism has been very big in the area, specifically in some areas with where we have Kebnekaise, the biggest mountain in Sweden.
Right.
And that's good for Sweden in one way, but you see that it's make an effect on the mountains.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some.
So,
we've got. I guess we've only really got one really famous hike in Australia, and I think they manage it really well. I think on all of the solid surfaces, the really solid rock and gravel, they leave it be, but on all of the surfaces that can be damaged, they put in these duck boards. So that's basically like long planks that you walk on. Yeah. So and that.
we have we have that in up in the north too.
Yeah,
because
I can see a photo of some.
The
Yeah.
ground is getting hurt anyway. So, what's the place in Australia that's the most?
Well, it's my opinion. Well, Craig, you couldn't think of any other, could you? Apart
You're
from
talking overland?
Yeah, it's called the Overland Track.
Okay.
In Tasmania.
Takes about, well, you can do it in 5 days or you can do it in 7 days. Depends if you catch a ferry at the end. And it's you see, the funny thing is it's a separate island down the bottom of Australia, and because it's so low, it's a lot colder, and then all of the animals and the vegetation is quite different to what we experience here. So for me personally, I've been there twice, and for me it feels like another country because everything's so much greener, and it's just completely different vegetation. So I love it. It's fantastic, and I think that's what attracts a lot of people to it. Very spectacular mountain ranges, nothing to the height that you have, but definitely some beautiful landscape.
Okay, what is it? Is it local people, so Australian people that go there, or is it a tourist attraction for?
I'd say it's both.
Other
Yeah, I'd say it's both. Like, I don't think many people in Australia haven't heard of it, and definitely a lot of Australians try to get down there if they're into hiking. But also, I guess there's not many people I know that are really into the outdoors or hiking or things like that. It's not a very large percentage, say, in comparison to the US, where lots and lots of people hike all the time. It's an actual kind of recognized pastime. There's not really that many people do it in Australia.
Oh, okay.
But definitely, when I did it, I ran into a lot of people from a lot of different countries when I was hiking that trail.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But because when I do my stuff and I do my photo and I follow, and I have followers from all over the world.
Yep.
Almost. You kind of see that this outdoor and hiking living is more common, and it's getting more common every year.
Yep.
It's what do you say? Many people to get out.
Yeah. Look, you said it. I mean, one of the things you said at the start of this call was that you hope to motivate people to get outdoors, and I just think that's a fantastic attitude. It's something we share.
Yeah, and then as I said before, it's that I'm doing this, of course, for myself, but I share my pictures and stories because I want to motivate people, but in the same time I want just not motivate people to go out, but also actually get some knowledge about what it's like to be out and what you need to know to be out, because just in the last couple of years when the tourist is going up, and many people from other countries is getting to Sweden, and especially the mountains. We have several people that died sadly in the mountain, because they think that is
it's just an
easy
place. Yeah. I get you. Yeah. Yeah, we have that here. We have that here
in the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty, and I think people don't understand. And Craig and I have been taught many, many lessons with our stupidity and not paying attention, and Mother Nature's come and kicked us in the us
Yeah.
several occasions, and it puts you back in your place, and you realize that you really need to be on top of your game and like you say, paying attention.
Yeah.
So yeah, the more people we can get out there. I also think that, going back to one of your other points, the more people that are out there and the more of a connection that they have with the wilderness, any wilderness, doesn't matter where they are, the more that they're going to have a valid opinion on things that we've been talking about. Like they can't have a valid opinion on, people knocking down trees if they don't understand what it is that they're missing. They can't have a valid opinion on the wolf population in Sweden if they've never even seen or heard one or don't know anything about reindeer, if you know what I mean. Like, if you don't have that connection, you don't really have anything to base your judgment on.
No, exactly. And that's I think it's when regardless what kind of outdoor influencer or what you can call it, but you have now I lost the word again, but you have to not just motivate people and make them get out. You even have a responsibility to tell them how to act when they're out.
So educate as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, education. Yeah. You don't have to be a survival specialist or so, but if you're going out, you have to consider and
have some
and realize that
some respect.
Things can happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, when I look through your Instagram, I guess something that I see in every single picture is a very deep respect. Like every picture of yours is respectful of the environment, your equipment, your clothing. You just look like you're one of those people that has respect for your gear, and you can just tell it just reflects in everything you do. That even you'll see a shot of your campsite and there's not stuff thrown everywhere. Like, it's very methodical, and I think that's good for people to see that and understand that.
Yes, and I try to even it's not just pictures but here in my area in my woods, if I can call it my woods, but it's almost every time I'm out, I meet some other people, hikers, or there could be a family that's out with the kids walking in the woods, and I feel when they meet me, even if it's a campsite or whatever it is, they get an impression of what I'm doing.
Yes.
So if I sitting there in my camping chair and what it is, and I have a littering all over, and this looks like a mess.
Yeah.
They think maybe they think that's okay, or maybe they think that I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
So I have to show the respect even.
I totally get it.
When I'm meeting people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very. But see, that's a very thoughtful way of projecting yourself and giving the people like ourselves that spend time in the wilderness. It kind of gives us a really good name, and full credit to you for doing that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because you can say it like I say it like every person that's out in the woods, even if they not photographing or whatever they do, everybody is ambassador for nature or the wilderness.
Yeah.
Some people are bad ambassadors and some people are good ambassadors. But
yeah, I like that, mate. I've that's really got me thinking about a few things. I think that's fantastic. I definitely, Craig and I think we do a pretty good job of it. But I think, I think moving and conducting yourself like that, that's really cool, man. I hope our listeners really put some thought into that as well. That's a really good point.
No, I love that message, and I love that sort of respect I see coming through. That sort of dark, sort of that nature is more powerful than you in a lot of these photos, and I like that. You don't have sort of the creatures that like the snakes that can be so dangerous, but your environment where you live is quite hostile at times. I imagine it's like you say, people die just from exposure out there and those mountains.
Yeah. That's you can say it's the big problem you have. That's people's that not respect or not have the knowledge about the environment they're in.
Yeah,
it's not the wolf that attacked them. It's the hard wind or the surprising storm or.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have similar situations here.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah, always. It's always and as I said before, being totally honest, Craig and I have got us in situations by not paying attention. But we learned from that. Thankfully, we didn't get kicked too hard and we're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that your and your fiance's son that is in some of the photographs?
It's one of we have totally 6 children in the house.
You have 6 children.
Oh wow!
Yes.
That's fantastic.
So, some of them like the outdoors, some of them do not. So that's why
you only see
kids are
some
more
of
on the
them.
photos than others.
Mate, that is just fantastic. Craig and I have 3 each, so we've got 6 between us. That's awesome. I do love seeing their photographs pop up, and just I can't help feeling that they're getting all of this fantastic kind of knowledge, and again, the way you conduct yourself is rubbing off on them. Respect for the environment and each other, and respect for things like knives and axes. That's awesome.
Yeah, we try to teach them. As I say, some of them they like to be out in the nature, but you have to drag them out. But when you get them out, they're hard to take it home again. So, but we try to even motivate and give them the right tools to be out and respect the nature, and I think it's going quite well. They have a good knowledge about what to do and not to do in nature, and how to treat the outdoor
fantastic.
life.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
don't know if you know we have a privilege in Sweden. I don't know if you have some kind of that's quite a thing in Australia, but we have something called allemansrätten.
Okay.
So is the I don't know how to translate it, but it's the right to move freely in nature.
Oh, right.
In Sweden, you can move in nature wherever you want, even if it's a private land.
Fantastic.
You can camp and you can make fires, and
wow.
as long as you
respectful.
Respect the whole, yeah. So
incredible.
In private lands, you're not allowed to camp more and 2 days in the same spot, for example. And if you make a fire, you have to clean it that it's look like you've never been there.
Yep, leave no trace. Yeah. Well, that's
so
fantastic.
it's a very it's a very good privilege we have.
That is fascinating.
I would say it's one of the most important laws, if you can call it a law,
Yeah.
we have in Sweden.
Yeah, I like the way
because
you said it was a privilege. That it certainly is.
I'm very jealous. That sounds great.
Because in if you compare with, I have never been in the States, but what I heard when I speak to followers and said, they if they go wrong, they can be almost shot at.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Private forest or something.
Yeah, yeah.
The only rule here in the allemansrätten, I should say, is the name is that you're not allowed to go in someone's backyard when they have their living.
Yeah, fair enough
But
too.
That's fair enough. But you have the right to go through someone else's forest or through someone's road. It's okay, but you have to show the respect.
Yeah, that's incredible. That
to the owner.
Yeah, that's incredible. I've heard of in the UK, they have the right to, and I don't know the name for it either, but they have the right to pass through, farmers' pastures, and they just have to leave the gates how they found them. And so they basically, because there's nowhere for them to hike for days and days because everything's so small and it's all farmland. But they're allowed to pass through all of these farmers' properties and just, obviously respect on the way through. They're not allowed, I don't believe they're allowed to stay there, but they can pass through to get to another town where they can stop. And so they'll put down, they'll go and do many, many days of hiking and link it up between towns or campgrounds, but they're allowed to pass through people's land, which I thought that was pretty incredible and respectful, but this is next level that you're talking about. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I think I think Norway have a similar rule, if you can call it a rule, but it's quite unique. I think this this right we have.
Yeah, well, we've had one of our guests was his name was Oddbjørn. He's from Norway. He's a photographer. Fantastic landscape photographer. And we'll have to ask him. I beg your pardon?
What's his name, you say?
Oddbjørn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's got a... What was that?
Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm just thinking if I recognize the name. So
okay.
I interrupted.
Oh no, that's okay. No problems. Yeah, I'll. We had a fantastic podcast with him, just talking about his landscape photography, and he spends a lot of time in the mountains. And he's just kind of getting into. So he had the photography part first, and then he was getting into kind of venturing further and further outdoors. And when Craig and I spoke to him, he was starting to get into overnight camping and just gradually work his way into it. But I'll have to ask him next time we're talking if how that rule applies in Norway.
Yeah, it gets you thinking.
Yeah, I think if I'm not wrong, but I think they have quite a similar. It's almost identical with our right to move freely. I think they have the same.
Yeah, I love it. I love the concept, and I think it would take a very respectful country to even think of implementing that. So that's I think that's something for the rest of us to think about for sure.
Yeah, but when you have a rule or what you can call it in that way, it's all in the same time. It's what do you say it again? The people that are outdoors, they have to have more respect, I think, and they have to know not just the rights or
Exactly.
even have to know what how to respect that kind of rule.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's the same with when I'm taking new people into the outdoors, I'm pretty clear about just the ways of interacting with nature, and if we're crossing a stream or something, for example, and there's some rocks with moss all over them, or I'll kind of just briefly explain, let's not walk all over these rocks because it's taken a long, long, long time for them to get that way. It's just as easy for us to move down a few meters and cross somewhere else. Just those little tiny little bits of respect. And I, for the most part, I mean, every time I'm explaining stuff to people, they really take it on board and think about it, and I hope that sticks with them every time they're in the outdoors.
Yeah, and that's to get back to the bushcraft thing. That's one of the things that I've not, as I said, I don't do much bushcraft things in a hardcore way because I just like it simple. But also in Sweden, I don't know how it's the bushcraft movement is in other countries, but in Sweden it's quite a what you say it's popular right now to exercise in bushcraft, many people right now is into the bushcraft thing.
Yeah,
and quite a hardcore, but a problem with the bushcraft, I think, when I see in Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and it's many people are so in the bushcraft thing that I don't think they are thinking about how they use the nature. Because it's bushcraft is a good survival is a good thing, and if you can basic things, that's very good. But
it's a destructive. It can be a destructive pastime.
Yeah, you don't need to cut down a lot of trees to make a shelter when you're not in a survival.
Yeah.
In a survival situation, just because it's, for most people, it's just because it's fun.
That's right.
And the big they're doing shelters and they're everything they do, but it's just for fun.
Yeah.
Not for because they need it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And you're very you raise a good point there. Where again, I think bushcraft is interesting, and as you say, there's some great skills, and it's a nice hobby. But I think there's some consideration there about if you're lopping branches off a tree purely for the purposes of doing something that you don't really need to do, then it probably needs to be reevaluated a little bit.
Yeah, it's I can just say to myself, but when I go out and I do my simple, like today, just light a fire and make some coffee, and I take the woods I carry from my home.
Oh, fantastic!
And I light the fire in the simplest way with a match and some paper. Even if it's fun to make it from basic, but it's not necessary.
Yeah,
and it
totally
takes time.
Understand.
It takes time, and I want my coffee fast. So.
You've got your priorities. That's a fair call. Hey, Thomas, you mind if I ask you about the tattoos that you have?
Yes, just ask.
It was actually something.
Which one?
Not so much which one, but just in general. I was looking at a post. It's quite some time back now. I'm just trying to find it, and here it is. And you mentioned the Sami people. Well, you mentioned the Sami gods, yeah. And you also mentioned that some of these tattoos are are a form of protection, or are they some representation of the Nordic gods, or how does that sort of work?
Yeah, it's I'm one of those people in Sweden that's what do you call it? Believe, or I will not say a religion, but I believe, and I think it's quite a nice story, the Nordic god story.
Yeah, they are beautiful stories.
You say, most people say Nordic mythology, but nowadays it's actually back in Sweden as a kind of religion. So, and I'm into that. So I don't want to call it a believer in that way, but I like the stories behind it, the saga.
Yeah, look, I love the sagas.
And it's the best sagas you can read for your children in nighttime, in bedtime.
I went to a live presentation in the city near where we live, and there was a Swedish guy and an Australian reporter who had travelled over to Sweden, and they went through many of the sagas for a couple of hours and read parts of the sagas and explained them, and it was absolutely fascinating evening. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's fascinating, as you say, and interesting. But the tattoos you speaking about is for one is for, as you say, protection.
Yep.
It's in. Oh no! It's a deer is barking at me.
What type of deer do you have there?
I don't know what you call them in English. Actually, it's the most common deer.
Is it a red deer?
I don't know the English word for it.
Yeah,
actually.
I'm gonna have a look. I'm just gonna Google it.
Yeah.
Swedish.
I think they call it deer. We have a lot of deers, but this is the most.
Oh yeah, that's a red deer you've got there by the looks of it. Yeah, we've got those deer here as well. Oh,
okay.
And
then I'm up on the hill right now, and it's standing maybe 50 meters down right now and barking at me.
First,
I don't know if you hear him.
I heard something.
I did too.
Yeah, you've got red deer.
Yeah.
And you've also got fallow deer, I believe. So red deer have got quite spiky antlers. Is that what you look? Is it a buck or is it a female?
I don't see that from here.
Oh, okay. You just heard it, radio. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sorry. I see the back of the deer, but I don't see if he got horns or if he is a female.
Awesome. Yeah, it says here that you have red deer, fallow deer, reindeer. Oh, you've got moose and elk. Is that correct?
Yeah, we got moose.
Oh, wow.
I have a moose friend in this area where I am right now. I call him Kent. He's a young moose that always sleeping in the forest here. So I used to meet him when I go home or when I go out.
Wow,
nice.
That's fantastic.
We hi to each other.
I do have I'm really fascinated with deer, but I'm more fascinated with moose and elk are just that's something I want to see. I've seen deer in Australia, and that's just a beautiful thing to be able to sit and observe them. But I can't wait to get somewhere that has moose and elk.
The deer is quite a common here in this forest. Elk, we have elks, but not as much in this area. And they are fascinating animals.
They certainly are.
Oh no! Yeah, now we get off topic there.
Hey, that's all good. That's all good. That's right on. It's right on topic.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Sorry, I the deer was barking at you, but you were in the middle of explaining the tattoos for protection.
Yeah, these two I have on my chest. One is for protection, and the Vikings in the old days think that symbol was protection in life and protection in the battlefield.
Yep.
And for me, it's protection in life, but even protection for when I'm out in the wild west or something like that. And the other symbol is a compass,
right?
A symbol that will guide you right in life or something like that. That's the fun thing, but the Vikings symbols and the god symbols, that's you're allowed to make your own. What do you say?
The design.
I don't know the word. Yeah. So you can. I can decide what it means to me. It's
your own interpretation.
In other religions, you have to follow the book.
Right. And
but
is that something? Is that modern, or is that old writing across your shoulders and your neck?
Which the text?
The text, it looks like
it
looks like
ancient?
words. Looks like old words.
Yeah, it's old. I don't know where the English word rune.
Did you say
skrift? We say.
Okay.
Cool.
No, I'm not sure.
Runes. Also, if you mean the text on my
I
chest.
do mean the text. Yeah. Hey, we've got a word in English that is runes. So maybe it's a similar thing.
I think it's called runes in old ancient runes, and it's the children name I have right in there.
Right, well, that's cool.
In old Viking style.
Did you say the children's names?
Yeah, my children's name.
Oh, your children's names. Oh, that's fantastic. Cool. That's cool.
So it's quite a symbolic. The symbols will protect them and guide them too.
Yeah.
It's the idea of it.
No, I understand. Yeah, I totally get it. And I mean, it's a whole nother discussion, but I think it doesn't matter what. I think faith is something that you use it. A lot of people interpret it a different way. I don't see any problem with people interpreting something, and I like the way you say that it's a bit of an open book. You can write your own kind of meanings, but if that's something that makes you feel stronger or you can draw power from, then that's great. Like, we've all got our lucky charms or things we do or say, or something we wear, or in your case, you've got tattoos, and it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, and I think it's. I think people have to have something to believe in or pray to, or what, even if it's the Nordic gods, or if it's the regular god, or also.
Yep.
Something I think believe people have to believe in something sometimes.
Yeah.
It's and I use it for especially when I'm up in the mountains hiking. I have my necklace with some of my necklace with the Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, or
Oh yeah.
and I'm not a hardcore believer, but I feel it cannot harm me to beg for good weather or luck when I'm out.
No, not at all.
So, and when it's hard times, when the storm is coming or something like that, you have nothing to lose to beg for something.
Yeah, yeah. Our last episode we recorded was about adversity, and when we talked a lot about fortitude and mental stamina and all of those sorts of things. And I think it's another way of kind of developing that mental strength. And as you say, it doesn't really matter how you manifest it, but if it's helping you out there, it can't hurt, like you say.
Yeah, no. So it can give you hope for the moment.
Yeah,
and that's good. It doesn't matter, I think, which religion you prefer to, or what kind of thing you ask for help of, but something always. It can be a tree. You can some god that doesn't exist, your own creation, but something.
Yeah, I lived in Japan for a year and a half many years ago, and they have two main religions there, but one's very respectful of nature, and I like that. I don't have a problem with that at all. Like, what harm can be done from someone who believes that you need to respect nature?
No.
Fantastic.
So, but I have the tattoos on my chest, the Viking or the Nordic Gods tattoo, what you want to call it. But I also have, I don't think I have any picture on that, but I have on my whole back, I have the Christian religion too. So.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I have the cross, and I have I don't know what they call it in English, but the God's God's prayer.
Oh, yeah, the Lord's Prayer?
The Lord's Prayer, yeah.
Oh,
I have it on my whole back. So, and people ask me, so what you cannot have two beliefs. I can have how many I want. If not one God not decides to help me, then maybe the other can do it.
Hey, but you're covering all the bases. That's good thinking.
Yeah.
That's interesting you say that, Thomas, because I was reading a book recently about a tribe in the canyons of Mexico, and they're called Tarahumara, and they actually have some quite kind of interesting views on the way they respect things. But another book I was reading as well was talking about the native tribes of the Amazon, and something really interesting was when it was actually a book about David Attenborough. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah, I've heard of him. And I know who he is.
Yeah, so he went to one particular village, and they said, "Oh, we're this religion," and he said, "Okay, no problems." But then they, in that religion, they weren't allowed to kill animals and eat meat. And then the next day, he saw them kill an animal and eat meat, and he said, "Hang on a second, I thought you said that was your religion." And they said, "Oh, yeah, but we're also this other religion which says you're allowed to kill animals and eat meat."
Okay.
So they were just they're just picking the best bits of what they liked best out of the religions.
Sounds good to me.
I think. I think it sounds good too. So
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, if it's all based around the respect and your love of nature, then it's all good.
yeah, but religion and stuff like that is always hard to talk about because it's quite easy to defend people.
Absolutely,
That's, as I call them, hardcore believers.
Yeah.
In something, but I think in my way I'm quite laid back in the religion thing. I believe in the Nordic gods, and I believe in even in all gods that's exist if you can say so. But
yeah,
I like you said, I when I'm up in north, I respect the natives. Gods and their religion, not maybe necessarily the gods, but I respect their beliefs.
I understand.
And if in another country, I will respect their gods because if my gods exist for me, their gods exist for them. So
yeah, that's a positive approach. I also like the idea of when you're in their area, you respect their gods. I think that's a good philosophy. Because
and they cannot make me some harm to respect other gods. It's because I'm not, as I say, I'm not a hardcore believer.
Yeah.
Some people in Sweden we don't. Sweden is not so religious country. We are Christian in basic ground, but people don't go to church, and they're not so into the. Even if they say they are a Christian, but they're not praying every day and not.
Yeah, I understand. It's a little bit more
I think
relaxed.
Sweden is it's more laid back and relaxed in Sweden. But then with the immigrants and we have Muslim things, they are a little bit more hardcore and it's quite easy to defend if you're not.
That's right. I think I personally find it an absolutely fascinating topic. I like talking to anybody about it because I prefer to travel with my eyes open and take it as much as I can, and rather than with my eyes closed and take offense to something that I've never heard before.
No. No. I'm just the deer is coming closer here now.
That's awesome.
I don't think it's me here barking at. It's something else. So I don't think have seen me yet.
Probably because you're just being quiet and talking on the phone.
he will notice me soon when he gets closer.
That's awesome.
But to get back to the religion thing, I just to wrap it up. My beliefs I use almost just in nature when I'm out. I don't practice it at home or something like that. It's a tool for me when I'm out on a hike or something.
Yeah.
Cool.
And if they don't want to help me, I will not get offended. And
lucky you know how to look after yourself as well. That's a backup.
Yeah. It's a backup. If I get help, I'll get help.
That's cool, mate. I like that. Thanks for going into that conversation with us.
Yeah.
I've got I've only really got one more question, but I was wondering, I'm very jealous or admire a lot of the gear that you've got. Some of the brands that I respect, you also use, and I just wondered overall if you think about all of your gear. So this will be a tough question. I was wondering what your 3 favorite pieces of gear are. Is that too hard?
Oh, no, it's. I think the first gear I that pop up in my head is I always have the knife with me.
Yeah.
So some kind of knife, and I have my favorite knife, but the knife, a good knife is basic, I think, in both survival and actually a good tool to have in the outdoors.
Yeah. I love your. There's a quote you've put on Instagram. A blunt blade is more dangerous than a sharp one. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a knife can be the best tool you have, but if you can't handle it, it can be dangerous too. So
yeah, they bite,
and that's why I think it's that I speak earlier. The people is getting out more and what you call it, regular people that want to try outdoor life. They have a old Mora knife.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know Mora.
Yeah, I love Mora. Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah. And they go out, but they are not familiar with how to use a knife, and that then when they get injured and do stupid things with a knife.
That's correct.
So, but it's not what do you say? It's not a science thing either. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if you point the sharp bit at your body, you'll get hurt.
Yeah.
yeah. But unfortunately, some people don't see it that way. So.
No, that's true. All right, so number 1 is the knife.
Yeah, the knife, yes, and just give. I have to think.
Oh, I can hear that deer.
You hear it?
I heard it then.
Yeah, it's still barking.
Yeah, he's
But
going
not
crazy.
Yeah. He's since I first heard him, he's barking all the time. I don't know what he's barking about. There's something that disturbs him in the woods.
Maybe he can smell your scent.
Yeah, maybe.
The coffee, mate.
Kent I think it's Kent the Moose that is bothering him.
Oh, Kent the Moose. Oh, he's getting around.
The Moose, yeah.
Stirring people up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
To get back to the second, it depends a little bit of in my regular, just like today when I'm just out, is the knife and is I would say that the clothing in all in the whole. Now we have winters, as we said, and I respect and I love my wool underwear.
Yeah.
My
is it?
But the clothes.
Do you have a wool underlayer? Is that kind of what it is?
Yeah. Underlayer, yes. Merino.
Yeah, merino. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
We're actually.
I have it all.
You have it all. Oh, you have it on now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When I have it on, and I have the even in the summer I have that on me.
Yeah. Well, it's only 20 degrees in summer, so I would too.
but 20 degrees in Sweden, that's like being in Ibiza
Yeah.
for Sweden.
Yeah.
It's hot. Yeah, people always write about it and telling about how important the wool
Yeah.
clothing is, but I think it's I have not found anything that's more better
No way.
than the wool.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's protecting from the cold, and it's protecting when you get wet, and it's
It's the best.
and the most important, you can hike for a week and it not smell like.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the socks I've got. We've both got. We're actually our podcast is sponsored by an Australian merino wool company, and
Okay, yes.
yeah, and they supply us with socks and t-shirts, and I've got some long pants as well. And you're right. You walk in those socks for 5-6 days, and as long as you just hang them out of an evening, and I keep a clean pair in my backpack to go in my sleeping bag, and then I put the dirty ones on every day to walk in, and they don't stink. It just doesn't smell. It's the most amazing material in the world.
Yeah, that's and it's wool and that's I don't know how long that's been, but the bamboo clothing is have the same.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
It's not as good as wool maybe, but the smell part is the same, I think.
Yeah, I agree on both counts. Not quite as good as wool. Certainly doesn't last as long. It tends to, or at least my experience is, it's not as strong as wool, but yeah, it definitely doesn't stink either.
No. But as you say, it's not the quality is not the same on bamboo as. Last year I was up hiking. I have a bamboo boxer underwear.
Yep.
And after 2 days, it looked like a rat has eaten on everywhere. It was small holes everywhere.
Tiny holes, yeah. Yeah, I've had a similar experience. Yeah, I agree.
So, but to get back to the overall, the clothing is when I'm out at this regular basis is a poor thing that.
Absolutely.
Because I sit still a lot, and I don't move. I don't hike.
Yep.
In that way I do in the mountains, and I don't want to get cold, and I don't want to get in other way frozen.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
And a third thing is that I have out in this regular is my of course my camera, but that's not
that's interesting.
Ah,
you can count that. That's interesting. That can be you can have 4 then if you like, because that's an interesting one.
Okay, I would take 4. I take the camera and my binoculars. Do you say binoculars?
Oh.
Binoculars.
My spotting, binoculars.
All right. Oh, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
It's because okay, no. But I think in my regular, when I go out just for a couple of hours or a day like this, people say when I speak to them, it's a luxury.
Yeah.
I don't think so much about the weight in my backpack or if I carry the woods from home in a bag or like that. I take with me stuff that's fun.
I see.
And to sit with a spotting scope or binoculars. It's quite nice to see the surroundings.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's a good spotting scope is a real pleasure. I don't think people if somebody's used binoculars and never used a spotting scope, they can't really understand the difference. But when you've looked through a good spotting scope on a tripod, it's a real pleasure to watch wildlife.
Yeah. When I'm in the mountains to tracking bears, I always have the spotting scope. It's a must to have a spotting scope. But you see things that you should never see if you don't have a spotting scope.
Oh, absolutely.
I have sit in my little camping chair in the mountains, and I just watching the surroundings, and after 2 hours, perhaps that small rock that's laying down on the mountains, suddenly you think it's starting to move, and you put up your spotting scope, and for 2 hours you have watched a wolverine, but you don't know it.
Yeah, I know exactly. I've had similar experiences. You're 100% right. Oh, that's cool.
So that's if you're just going out to the woods, I think some kind of spotting scope or binoculars or that kind of thing is quite a funny thing to have.
Yeah.
And it can give you good experience. You can watch even if it's small birds in
that's right.
You see it from another what is it?
Perspective. Yeah, correct. Both of my sons, or my two eldest sons, got binoculars for their birthday last year, which is within 4 weeks of each other. So as soon as they both had binoculars, they were off around the garden and in the woods, and when we go hiking they always carry them, and they love it. Yeah,
it's the same here. The kids love to have the scope with them, and also we have for the kids another thing, but it's what do you say, walkie-talkies.
Yes, my boys have got them too.
And it's perfect because I can have contact with them. They can go out in the woods, and I know I get to reach of them, and they have fun with it. So that's a tip for people that have children in the woods.
For parents with 6 children.
Yeah. You have to have some connection with them when they're spread out in the woods.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I like that. No, my boys have a set of 2 ways, walkie-talkies, and I've got a set as well. So between all of us, we can all communicate when we're hiking. It's great.
Yeah, and we have actually used it when we up in the mountains. We have when we're hiking with the kids in the mountains.
Yep,
it's a perfect tool to have for some kids are taking it easy, and some of the kids want to almost run through the mountains, but then you have the connection all the time, and you don't have to worry that they are lost, or they can tell you I stopped to take a rest now. So then you know.
That's fantastic.
It's a good tool. It's just not funny. It's a good tool.
Yeah, it is good. I thought you might mention that wooden mug, your wooden coffee mug, as one of your 3. I wasn't sure if that would be one of them.
Yeah, when you asked me the question, my first thought was knife and my coffee gear. But I think, but I think I don't know. I would maybe survive without my coffee. So, but my wooden cup is and my little coffee pot is. It's one of the gear that always are with me.
It's always
even if I am in the mountain or in the woods. Yeah.
And is that I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right again. Is it AU or EU? Is that mug?
Yeah.
Same. How do you say it?
Yeah, Öjo.
Uyu.
It's from then that company. Yes.
Yeah, because I saw the logo on the bottom in one photograph. It's a beautiful mug. Absolutely beautiful work.
Yeah, I love those kind of. I have a couple of home from other fabrics too, but I love that kind of cup.
Yeah, it suits you, mate. It's perfect for everything you do.
Yeah, I reckon.
So, but to speak about the three things that became four, but it's quite a different. If I go up to the mountains, which I do a couple of times a year, then my priority and my three things will change.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. Same with us. We'll pack specifically for the area we're going to, the duration and everything else. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, as I said, my regular basis outdoor, I take things I just feel for the day. But when I go up in the mountains and hiking, I'm more thinking about what to carry, not to carry.
Yeah, understandable.
Oh, well, Thomas, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. And it's always great to see your pictures come up. And at this stage, you've inspired me to get a really good pair of binoculars at this stage, I think. And thanks for having a coffee with us over the internet.
Yeah, mate. Thomas,
thank you. It was a pleasure.
No, absolutely. It has been a pleasure from our end, that's for sure. It's been fantastic finally getting together and having the chat that we've wanted to have for a while.
Yeah.
And answering all those questions that we kept throwing at you. You've done a great job.
I hope you understand a little bit of what I was speaking about.
Oh no, we got it. It's all good. What shines through is the respect for the environment and your love of the outdoors, and I think that's everyone's gonna get that out of the podcast. I guarantee that.
Yep.
Yeah, very good.
So,
and the most important thing that's you have to try the Pilsner Korv.
Oh yeah, we got that. We'll put that on our list. So. Again, I'll say tack så mycket. And
varsågod, det var så lite.
And I will also say, here's another one for you. Hur av dig? Is that okay? Hur av dig? Stay in touch.
What? Ja, vi hör av oss.
Oh, okay, that's
okay.
I had that written down as hur av dig or something like that.
Yeah, vi hör av oss, eller vi hörs.
Okay.
Is the Swedish.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost.
Was that did I just say Norwegian then? No.
No. I think it was Swinglish.
Swinglish.
Swinglish. Yes.
I think he's picking on me.
Swinglish.
And I was going to say min bror at the end, but I messed.
Min bror.
Yeah. Craig doesn't know what we're talking about because we're so fluent and comfortable in your language. He has no idea what we're saying. Yeah, sorry, Craig. We're just having a conversation here. It's just explaining to Thomas that.
Craig can use Google Translate if you want.
No. Well, that's all I did. No. I said thank you so much, and then I tried to say stay in touch, my brother. So yeah.
Good
mate,
one.
Really, really, really appreciate your time. I know we've taken a piece out of your day, but say hi to Kent for us.
Yeah.
And
no, it's getting dark here, so I have to pack my things and go home.
Perfect timing then.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Honestly, mate, I can't thank you enough for your time. We'll keep in touch and keep those fantastic photos coming.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for calling Sweden.
Thanks, buddy. Take care, mate.
Yeah, take care.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes, we'd really appreciate your ratings and comments if you can spare the time. If you'd like to know more about HikeordieTV and keep track of our adventures around Australia, make sure you drop by Hikeordie.com. That's where you'll find all the information you'll need to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or Pinterest. As always, we appreciate your support. Thanks for listening.